Hello again and welcome to another episode of Fun with Food Prep. I am Carolyn and my co-host today again is Kaylin. How are you today, Kaylin?
Good.
You look pretty good today.
Thanks. So do you.
Oh, thanks. That wasn't planned. We were just I just wanted to see what she would say. So today we're going to talk about some of the things that we need in our kitchen, just as basics and the essentials that you need to make sure that every meal is wonderful. I know that we talked about some of these things in our very first episode, but because we had some technical issues, we decided that we were going to go over some of them again. What do you think, Kaylin?
Me.
Oh, I like that thumbs up. So the first thing we wanted to talk about is some of the tools. I do have some notes so I don't forget. So what do you want to talk about first? Tool-wise. Oh, she wants to talk about a whisk. Every kitchen should have a nice, good whisk. This is a medium-sized whisk. I do have other sizes at home, but this helps in many ways. It will help with your gravies, get rid of the lumps. It helps with your baking. If you're a baker, it's going to get rid of the lumps in your baking. It really combines all of your food, so you want to always have a good whisk. Let's go do some knives. Finally. All right. Everyone should have 1 to 2 good paring knives. You can get them pretty much anywhere. If you like to go on Amazon, you can get them on Amazon. Most of your department stores, well, I don't want to say department stores, but Walmart, Target, you know, all of those stores in their utensils section are going to have some sort of paring knife. Okay, then we want to have a small chef knife. These do have a special name. They're called, this one is a 5-inch chef's Santoku knife. I really like these. They're very easy to manage. They're very comfortable in your hand. So you want to have, you know, a 5 or 6 inch bladed chef knife. And then we don't want to show them the package. It's silly.
Then why do you keep it in the package?
Why do I keep it in the package? I keep it in the package because it's sharp. It's sharp and it's safer in the drawer because I have a little one at home. She opens up the silverware drawer and if it's not covered up, she could cut herself. So I kept the package it came in. It slides right back in there and it's safe inside the drawer. This is a chef knife. This is one of my favorite ones. It actually is my favorite one. I saw this on Food Network. One of the chefs on Food Network used it. So I said to my husband, I really like this knife. And oops, next day I had it in my house. It was wonderful. Again, this is a chef knife. It is very versatile. It will chop just about anything. And it's very comfortable in your hand. So this is a large chef knife. And now watch, we're going to put it right back in the package. So we don't cut ourselves.
I want to say this is a bread knife.
It is a bread knife, but it's also called a serrated knife. Do you know why it's called a serrated knife?
Because when because when you look at it, it looks like it's serrated.
It's all the bumps. So what else do you think you could cut with a serrated knife besides bread?
I don't know. You tell me.
Oh, do you know why we want to use a serrated knife to cut bread?
So your bread doesn't crumble?
Right, so your bread doesn't get flat. So what other foods do you think that are soft like that you would have to use a serrated knife on so they don't squash? Something you just cut recently.
Bananas?
No. Red. Tomatoes.
Oh, yeah.
A serrated knife is good to cut tomatoes because you're not putting that extra pressure on with a flat surface, and it does help cut a tomato a little bit better. So that's a serrated knife.
Why didn't you let me use that instead?
Because I don't have a little serrated knife. This is an awful big one. That'd be, you were cutting little cherry tomatoes. That would have been kind of silly, huh?
Yeah.
All right. So that's your knives. Spoons, I like to have, I was brought up calling this a rubber scraper. Other people call it a spatula. This is a very versatile tool also. It will clean the sides of your bowls. It will help with not mixing, folding. And I like to use these in my frying pans too because it doesn't scrape the bottom of the frying pan. The other one I have, and all I have is a little baby one. This is called a spoonula. It's kind of the same as a spatula, but it has a little dip in it like a spoon. So this will also clean the sides of your bowls. It is a very versatile tool. And if you remember, last week I said that in my kitchen I like to have tools that are multifunctional, not just one tool that does one thing, right? Mm-hmm. These are those.
And some of them are good for licking the bowls.
Oh, some of them are good for licking the bowls. You're silly. You always want to have a good spoon. This one has a rubber end on it. It is won't melt in the heat. Metal handle. This is also very good to have to make sure that you're not sticking your hand in hot food, right? And what do you got in your hand?
Spatula? No. Flipper.
Flipper.
Yeah.
What's it good for?
Flipping pancakes.
Flipping pancakes.
That's the one on top
Pancakes at Fridays, you know, everybody, I think a lot of people already know that this is a flipper flopper. A flipper flopper. Okay, so some of the other things that we want to have in our kitchen, always have on hand, is a set of
measuring
spoons. Yes.
And measuring cups.
Yep,
Those right
we got
there.
measuring cups. Now, we actually have two different kinds. No, we don't need those though. We have two different kinds of measuring cups. We have this one here, and then we have these. Do you know what the difference is?
Liquid, dry.
Do you know why we have to have different for both?
Because if you don't, it'll just be messy.
Well, because believe it or not, there's a little bit of difference in a liquid measure for a cup and a dry measure for a cup. There's not a lot of big difference, but there is a difference. So if you're measuring your sugars, your flours, all of your dry ingredients, you want to use your dry measuring cups. But when you're using your liquids, you want to use your liquid measuring cup. We forgot about these.
Cutting board.
Yes, we always want to have cutting boards. I like to always have two different size cutting boards depending on what I'm cutting. This is like an everyday, you know, onions, garlic type thing. This is for the bigger jobs. Yes, that one's yours. This one is for the bigger jobs. I do like both of these. This one here has a little more. They have rubber on them so that when you put them on the counter, they don't slide. This one also has, this one has been very used. This one has 4 corners of rubber so it won't slide on your countertop as well. Do you remember what you do if your cutting board slides on your counter? Do you remember what we can do?
Paper towel.
What do we want to do with the paper towel?
We want to put it on under our cutting board.
But we want to make it a little
wet.
Right. So if you dampen a paper towel, wring out the excess water and lay it underneath your cutting board. If you don't have the cutting boards that have the rubber, and even if you do, it will help prevent the cutting board from sliding across your countertop because it creates friction. Pretty cool, huh? All right, can I just look at my notes here really quick, make sure we covered everything? Oh, you know what? You should always have a good vegetable peeler. Do you know what a vegetable peeler is?
Yes, I've used it.
Yes.
And where is the
I didn't bring one, I forgot. But a vegetable peeler basically is what it is, a vegetable peeler. You can peel your carrots, beets, potatoes. Most people use it to peel their potatoes. Ah, yes. Good job. Vegetable peeler. Everyone should have a really good vegetable peeler. There's many different kinds of vegetable peelers out there. Find the one that you're most comfortable with, and that's the one that you should stick with. Will you put that back in Miss Carrie's? Thank you very much. You're prepared. All right. So, do you want to move on to some of the spices and things that people think that you think that people should have in their cupboard?
This first.
No, we're not going to do that one first. We're going to start with the best one of all time. Nope. Can you read it?
Garlic powder.
Garlic powder.
I think these ones are yes.
This one happened to come from Trader Joe's, but there are lots of places that you can get garlic powder. A staple for your kitchen should always be garlic powder we want to do onion powder. This one, of course, this one is onion and salt. Either way, you want to have a powdered version of both of those spices in your kitchen.
Salt and pepper.
Oh yes, salt and pepper. Have to. Why do we have to have salt and pepper?
Because if you don't, things won't taste right.
Oh, things won't taste right. And then we always want to have, I like to always have oregano and basil. These are good multi-purpose herbs. They add a nice flowery and earthy flavors to your food. If you like to grow herbs, or oregano and basil are two of the most popular grown herbs. So,
and these are my favorite.
Those are her favorites. What are they, dear?
Everything but the bagel and 21 Seasoned Salute.
Everything but the bagel and 21 Seasoned Salute. Those are her two favorite. We do get those from Trader Joe's. I do believe you can get them on Amazon. It's a little more expensive through Amazon, but there are other companies that do sell a lot of the same seasonings. May not be the exact same name, but they have the same ingredients. Some of the other, one of the other staples that I like to have is smoked paprika or just regular paprika. It adds a nice earthy flavor to your meals.
I have no idea.
A couple of these other ones that I like to use, we already did this one, honey.
Oh.
That I like to use, I did find this at Trader Joe's. It's called Umami Blend. It's a mushroom blend. It gives a nice savory flavor to the food. This is one of the ones that we really like to use. A couple other things. You want to have a good cornstarch in your pantry. I got this one. I don't know where I got this one from, but I do like this one. It is gluten-free. It's cornstarch. You want to have the cornstarch to make your gravies. You want to be able to thicken things. It's a nice coating for meat if you're trying to make a gravy. I like to use the cornstarch because it is gluten-free. A lot of my friends have gluten allergies, so I try to be able to accommodate them through using things that they can eat. So if you make a gravy with a flour, someone that has a gluten allergy unfortunately is not going to be able to eat it. And who doesn't like gravy on their food? I mean, really, you have to have gravy with some dishes, right? Mm-hmm. All right. So a couple of other things that I was thinking about, staples in your kitchen. And on top of the powdered ingredients, you always want to have cloves of garlic, or I also have in my refrigerator a jar of chopped garlic. And you want to always have onions on hand. Onions are very flavorful depending on the type of onion that you get. Vidalia sweet onions are a sweeter form of an onion. Just a regular boiling onion has more of a sharp flavor. I like to use red onion for my salads just because of the color. Carrots, always have carrots on hand. You want to have, they add a lot of flavor again to your meals. They're very good with roast beef. You like roast beef? Mm-hmm. I know you do. Is there anything else? Oh, EVOO. Do you know, Kaylin, can you tell everybody what EVOO stands for?
Extra virgin olive oil.
Extra virgin olive oil. You always want to have a good olive oil on hand. A balsamic vinegar. If you like to have that sweet but tangy bite in your food, a good balsamic vinegar is going to help you with that. It comes in many different forms now. There's a place out where we live here that's all they have is olive oils and balsamic vinegars. There's white balsamic vinegar, and then there's also the dark ones, and they have many different flavors. We just used one over the weekend that was a tangerine balsamic. It was really good, wasn't it? Okay, so now we're going to talk about butter. Everyone should have real butter in their refrigerator or in their essential packet for their kitchen. I know early on, a lot of people used margarine. Now that we have educated ourselves a little bit better, we really want to stay away from those margarine type products. We want to have real butter.
How can you tell real butter from fake butter?
Well, first of all, the fake butter or margarine, it's going to say margarine right on the package. The real butter says real butter. You can get it two ways. You can get it salted and unsalted. Pretty cool, huh? Margarine, after doing a little research, I have found that margarine is actually a plastic. It is, I don't even know if it's an edible plastic, but I don't know if you've noticed that if you used margarine as a child in your parents' kitchen, because I know growing up we used margarine. It was a little less expensive at that time than butter. It never really melted right on the toast, and it never really melted right in a frying pan if you were going to use it for eggs. Well, again, after doing a little bit of research, I discovered, along with many other people, that it is plastic. So, I don't know about you, Kaylin.
I don't want to eat plastic.
I don't want to eat plastic either. So we always want to have real butter in our kitchen. A couple of other things, we want to have dried or fresh parsley. Again, that's going to add color and some nice flavoring. And I always like to have stock in my pantry. A lot of people ask, what's the difference between stock and a broth? Do you know what the difference between a stock and a broth is?
I think I do, but I forgot.
Well, what do you think?
Mm.
A stock is made from the bones of the animal that you are using. If it's beef stock, it's usually made out of beef bones that have been boiled and rendered down and then separated or sifted through a strainer, and then when you're done, you have this nice healthy stock that you can use to flavor your meals. Chicken is the same way. You use the chicken bones and cook them down and then strain it, and then you have a nice chicken stock. Same with vegetables. You can also do it with seafood. The difference between a broth and a stock is the broth is a lot lighter. It's a little clearer. Basically looks like colored water. Doesn't have a lot of flavor to it. So if you do need to use a broth to add a liquid to something just so that you're not using water, that's always a good choice. But I like to use a stock instead of a broth. And let's see, you want to look over this and tell me if we missed anything? Or do you have any questions? Since, I mean, you're the one that helps me in the kitchen so much, I really appreciate your questions that you ask.
Do we get those?
Yep, cutting.
I can't read this.
I think we got it all though.
Yeah.
I think we got everything.
I don't know how to read cursive yet.
That's okay. Again, thank you so much for joining us. This was a short episode this week, but I thought that we needed to go over some of the essentials for your kitchen and some of the things that you should have as a staple. Again, let us know your comments and everything through funwithfoodprep@gmail.com. We also are working on a YouTube channel. We have kind of it set up. If you put it in there, you'll get one episode. We'll get some others up for you. Catch us on Facebook, like us on Facebook, Fun with Food Prep. And as we say in our kitchen every day, do try this at home, and we will see you next week. Thank you so much for joining us.
And please like and subscribe to our videos.
Okay, thank you so much again, and we'll see you next week with Fun with Food Prep.